Hello friends, uh, now we are going to start the third video where we are going to connect to the public Ethereum networks, test networks particularly. So there are ways to connect to the public Ethereum networks. I'll go, I'll briefly explain how exactly we can connect to the Ethereum node, public Ethereum node. So one is the mist mallet, which will be running in the node a background and it syncs all the blocks. So it takes a lot of time when you run a Ethereum node using a mist wallet because it has to sync all the blocks and make your node ready to deploy any transactions, deploy in smart contract, something like that. Other thing is that MetaMask. MetaMask is it's a bridge which connects to the mainnet of test node. It is very easy with the Remix IDE and deployment of transactions with the MetaMask would be very easy. I'll make one more video on how to deploy a contract and how to communicate with the contract with the MetaMask connection. Another way is that Infura.io. Infura.io is a sister company of Ethereum where it provides a node URL which we use to connect to the Ethereum node. So these are the ways we connect. But in this tutorial, we are going to see now Infura.io, how to connect to the Infura.io, how to connect to Ethereum node using the Infura.io. So for that, uh, so our previous program looks like something like this. So I want to connect to the public Ethereum node. I will stop, which is running the blockchain. I'll stop this start PC organization. Then I will stop this currently running server. Then what is the infura.io? So I go to the Google Chrome browser. I will open it. Infura.io. So open this site infura.io. So it looks like something like sign up if you're first time user, sign up. It will ask the email ID, that's it. But I have already the account. I'm using my account to sign into this. Mm, Right. So here it's a good UI. You can explore how it looks like something like this. Even if you are using more the time, then you can upgrade to deploy more number of transactions. For the initial user, it is very free. So click on Ethereum, click on status active, and check. Go to settings here. You can check that my project ID, my mainnet URL is something like this. But I take the Ropsten, the testnet of Ethereum. I'll copy the HTTPS. I'll copy this and I'll go to my browser. I mean editor. Instead of localhost 8545, I'll use this. So this is something which is Infura. So I'll comment this out. I'll copy this, right? So instead of Ropsten, I'll copy this node and I will give this, right? I'm connected the Infura node. Just I connected to Infura node, whether I can see the accounts, whatever we have done with the tester PC, whether it is coming or not, we'll check that. So I'll run the server and I'll go to the document where it's running. Here it's running. I'll load it. Undefined. So basically here we are not getting any accounts, but it's going what it's returning in the null undefined. So we are getting a zero records. So accounts of zero is something undefined, it's getting printed. What it is doing is that this node is something, it doesn't provide you to create your own accounts over there. It just provide you the URL where you need to deploy your raw transactions. Like it doesn't provide you to store your account details in that particular node. So you need to use your own account generation and use here, which are some ether. right? So now right now we are connecting Ropsten test network. So as usual, we want the prerequisites for this for connecting the Infura node is that or any Ethereum node. First thing is that we need one account and we need one node. So node we have connected and we need one account to communicate the transaction, right? So for that, what we will do is go to the browser. Here I take my MetaMask account. Just lock. Right. This is my account. I copy this my account. Then I'll give like const account equal to this is my const account. Even I need private key to sign the transactions, right? So for that, in order to not to explore my content, I'll to use key equal to for this private key, I'll take on the MetaMask. So go to settings. You need to able to import the address actually. Activity name, different networks, account one, select settings, advanced. I want my private key, so it's not here. Even it's not in general too. It is create account. I want a private key of this account copied. Permissions account one. Account details. Export private key. I copied my private key. For it, I need to give my password. Then it comes here. Copy it. Done. Then I give my private key here. Then enter. Right. So I've given my public key account and private key. So I selected my account. Then I need to deploy a smart contract to store the whatever the value we are getting here, right? We want to store in smart contract. So for that we need one smart contract to be written. So for that what I do is and I will write simple smart contract in Remix. Remix.ethereum.org is a site where gives an IDE to deploy the Ethereum smart contracts. So we will do lot of tutorials on Solidity where you can see how to write each program and all, right? So for example, I take a file explorer and I check the environment Solidity, go to file explorer, click on plus, something like hello.sol. Okay, I think it's already there. Then pragma solidity. Just I want to store the single state, right? 0.6.0.7.0 latest version contract hello and a string word equal to world, right? I want one setter function set word. So string memory. This is a parameter for this underscore word public with exposes to outside and set word. I mean the word equal to underscore word. Function get word. Here it returns public, returns a state which is stored, so it should be a view, returns string data type, so it should be memory, then return word. So if you don't understand what is solidity, I will make separate videos. We'll understand better. This is a simple state. What I'm taking word, I'm storing it, and one function to retrieve it. So one setter and one getter, and one state I'm maintaining it. I'll click on solidity, and I will deploy and run transaction. Use the injected Web3. I will use the MetaMask to deploy this transaction. So meanwhile, I will try to create a contract here where contract equal to new. I will take web3.e.contract in the web3 documentation. The confirm transaction is confirmed. So here I can see web3.eth.contract. Right. So here it gives JSON interface and address and options. So this is a syntax. I'll copy this. I'll give here. So here there are three options. One is address, one is JSON interface, and other is option. So what is this JSON interface? Something ABI. So that ABI we get it from the remix. Here when we go to the compilation tab, here there is ABI. Copy this and so what I do is that instead of JSON and address, I'll take this, paste it, and beside this I need to give the address. So for the example, I can see here the address should be like this. So the address is something which we just now deployed in the remix. Go if you go deploy an address, like there is an address hello at 0xe. I'll copy this address and inside the app.js I'll give here. It should be in quotes as it is a string. And I try to print what is in the contract console.log contract, right? So here we have taken a JSON interface which enables us to connect from the JavaScript to the Ethereum smart contract. It has to understand what all methods in the Solidity smart contract, right? So it gives us one JSON interface that's called as ABA, application binary interface, which has a methods, whatever we have written like set word, get word, that will be given in some structure in the JSON structure. We use the structure and where exactly the contract has been deployed is given in the form of address. Now I try to print this address and we'll see what method it is showing up, right? Now I'll close it and I'll run it. So here it shows like it has address is here. It has set word, get word. There are no events, something like that. So set word, get word is that. Now I want to set something. So as soon as this is something get word, I want to write something set word. So for set word is something you need to post it. So what I need is that there are methods actually app.post get something like that. So I use post. If you want to write something, you write post. If you want to return something, you use get root. The post you can set it like set set you can use it. Then there will be a promise actually. I mean promise a callback function which will be executed once after it comes to a set. It has some functions. So that is like request response. So here then request dot I want to see what all it is coming before trying to do that. Console dot request dot params, not params, body. I will try to send in the body dot word, right? So I want to post something here, right? So here in the index.html instead of get word, I need to post. So how my JSON is looking, just we'll have a look at once. I mean how the page is looking like. I'll go to document. So here I will take the input of the word string and here I will submit it and I want to create one more button actually. So for that what I do, I will go to index.html and the get response and create one break and create one button. This is like submit, right? So instead of a button here, I'll paste against after the text, I'll button it. Then I'll put break, right? So whatever submit, I'll do that. So here also I need to do one on click. Submit response. Subresp. So I need to write one script for subresp. So I'll copy the script. Then I'll write subresp here. Here instead of get word, what I'm writing set. So instead of get here, it will be post app.get app.post, right? Set. You can pass the value like this only in the parameters also. Value true, right? So here instead of body, what I do params only I'll do that instead of taking the body. The same thing like slash ID, right? So once we do this, I want to see whether word is coming here or not. So I will print here. Okay. Then I'll do Rohit. It responds. So it is coming. But what about the other button? What happened? Submit get response. Submit why it's not there. I need to refresh it. Yeah. Here. So it's a submit. Still it is coming as undefined. So submit goes for subresp. Right? Inside a subresp, whatever the name dot value is there, we're trying to take that and send it. For this, what I do is there is a huge contract is coming. I'll comment this out. Then I'll refresh it, test, submit. I'll inspect here if I'm not able to find out. Okay, fail to get the status of 404. Set slash test not found. So here set is there, set colon ID. In the index.html, set slash ID. What is not found? Only go to get. Again, I'll try to reload. Still it is saying not found. Slash test. So till index.html set test, it's coming here, but it's not getting to send. Not found, it's saying. We'll take post only. Okay, I'm sorry. So I better write out inside that get. Where is it? Right here. Then again I run it, reload it, test, submit. Still it is coming as undefined, but here it's going as a test. So word is undefined, but ID, right? Then again I try to submit. Here I get test. Yeah, I'm getting a test. I need to take this test and I need to pass to the smart contract. So what I need to do is that inside the request.param.id, it's coming. So now next task would be like I need to prepare a data, I need to sign the transaction, and I need to send the transaction to the Ethereum blockchain. So for that, we need to get the data in the encoded bytecode format. So for that, the first object would be like we need to get the data. So I need to encode the data where encoded data is equal to something like I need to do encode AVI. So what I should do is that so already the contract is at is this place. So I take this contract dot methods dot so we'll do console dot log contract first here before going to control dot methods. We'll try to see node app.js. Click on submit. Here it has get word set word inside the method. So set word is something which changes the state, right? So what I do is that contract dot methods dot set word. What is a set word? Copy set word dot set word as one parameter. That is something ID. So I will pass this request dot params dot ID, right? So I'm preparing the data to pass into the encode. I mean to prepare the bytecode for the transaction. So it returns. So I can print this now console.log encoded data. Save it. Node app.js. So I'll do test, submit. Encoded data is not defined. So I need to copy this and I need to paste here so that I get it. Again call. Again run it. Again see the encoded data, you can see that in the bytecode. Whatever the input string we are passing, we are sending it like that. Next, I need to prepare the object, how much gas I need to spend, how much from which account I'm sending this, all this. I need to define one transaction object. So for that, let transaction object should be like. So for the gas, I will take something like 47, right? And data is something encoded data. it's showing I'll put comma here. Yeah. Yes, and it's a JSON object. Yes, data from account, from which account you are doing. So I have in the account already. I defined our top side here account, my public account. I'm using the same thing from account and to address. This we are deploying to some contract address. Right? That contract address is at here. I'll do this. Copy process. So now I build the object. I need to sign this transaction with my private key, saying that I am deploying this transaction. So for that, we have in the Web3 documentation sign transaction. Go to Web3. You can type sign $sign. So here you can find Web3 dot teeth dot sign. I think here you can find that sign transaction. No. So encode is something which we have already used. Contract dot methods dot whatever method dot encode so that it converts the bytecode. The output should look like something like this. Then after that, uh, here sign the we need to sign the transaction actually. See here, sign transaction. Sign transaction, private key, and there is a callback. So we use the same thing. So sign transactions of transaction, we have transaction object. So instead of private key, I have given as P key. And there is a callback. So for this callback, what I do is that function error response. So here callback as error and signed transaction. Both are there. So I'll take error and response. Right. If error, then console dot log of error, whatever the error we try to print, else I will try to send this transaction, send sign transaction to the network. So for this, I need send signed transaction. But whatever the response is there, I'll try to print that console dot log response. Right, till now we are not sending any transaction, just we are signing the transaction. So just we'll see how it is looking like. Right, so go to the document. Submit. Here you can see that my transaction has been signed now, and I'm getting the something like raw transaction. I am getting it, so I can send this raw transaction to the using the send sign transaction. So for that, I need to find send sign transaction here. Sign transaction is there. and sign transaction. So this syntax is something like this. I type this instead of sign transaction, that is something as response dot, this is raw transaction, and take this, copy, paste, then it's a callback. So what is it saying? Callback error hand hash. So I can take function error comma press, right, console.log resp, and I want to do, right, we'll see what is the resp. Node.js, again go here, there is our document here, it's there, reload it, send test, submit it. So here it is coming as undefined, resp is coming as undefined. So something, we are doing a mistake here. So I'll go to the documentation. Here we see the example. Send sign transaction on receipt. Okay. Instead of callback, we need to use on receipt. So what we do is that I'll type this. I'll put this on console dot log. Right. I'll see here. Then I will run it. Go to the document. Reload it. Again, put some value. It's throwing an error. Error return exceeds block gas limit. So some error, block gas limit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we need to decrease our gas. Control S. And I can count out. Then in reload, use some value, submit it. Now it's working fine. Transaction has come. On receipt, we'll get the correct transaction. So on receipt, I want something to happen. So instead of console.log, I will write function response, and I will return as resp send response. I want to print this response. So it has been deployed successfully, right? So I'm sending back the response when I'm deploying the transaction. Node.js. Now reload, put Rohit, submit. It has come. We created an object, a transaction hash has been deployed. Once it gets confirmed, we'll get the receipt saying that this is the response. So here we get the response, I suppose. We got the response. here. Everything is getting printed on block hash, right? So this much response big is there. I don't want to print all this response. I want to print only the transaction hash after the sent is success. So what I do is that in the this dot response text, uh, what is there is dot response text dot. I can print block hash. I'll print only block hash. Right? Control C. Mode after yes. Reload. Test. Submit. Transaction has been created. So once it is done, then I'll get the block hash here. So transaction hash is this. Now test has been set, right? I want to get the value. Or get word also. Right. Undefined. So somewhere I have done the mistake. This dot response text. Instead of that, where equal to this dot response text. So as it is a JSON, I need to pass, I think, world dot block hash. JSON dot pass. Oh, try to print over here. The string I'm trying to pass it to the wire. I'm trying to assign it to the same. So you know this. What I do is that world dot block hash. So as it is a public network, for doing any transaction, it is taking some time, right? Mining has to happen, or something like that. Right. I can see in the log also here. See here, no block hash has come. So previous set is a string directly. If I'm trying to print, it's not accepting it. So I parse it and I try to print, then it's accepted. Block hash has been printed. Right now, I want to see something. I have set the word from the app.js using the set API. I want to get API, get word using the get word. So for that, what I need to do is that even for that, I need not make any data for that. For receiving the data, nothing to be done. Just we can call like, I'll take comment out this and anyway our contract is at here, right? So where get value, get word, get value equal to get word value, or we can take something like the documentation, go to documentation, methods, example, we go here, we can do this. So my contract is here, contract. Method is method. This is something get word. For get word, we don't have any parameter to pass. From is something account, from which account we are passing it. Function error result. So console.log result. So if result is there, then we'll send hello. Instead of account 0, we'll send result. Run it. Where is our document UI? I'll reload it. I'll directly click on get response, whether it changes to previous set response or not. Get word needs some ID, right? So I will take that ID common. Whatever I'm passing here, I will save it. Index.html and also I'll take out this get word. Where save it. Again, I'll complete and run it. Reload. Get response. Internal server error. Contact is not defined. So in the app.js, I contract. Save it. Again, run it. Refresh the server page. Get response. Hello, Rahul Kumar Sita. If I change to Rohit and submit, it submits. Create a transaction hash. Here what we are doing, we are creating a bytecode, we are signing the transaction, and then we are sending the raw transaction to the Ethereum network, right? So once it gets confirmed, then you will get the receipt saying that this is confirmed. This is a receipt block hash in which block it has been segregated. You can see the block hash. Now if you click on get response, hello Rohit. So this ends how we connected to the Ethereum using the Infura node. So what we have done, just I'll go through once again. I connected through Infura node using the Web3. Then I have taken my, as for communicating with the Ethereum network, two things are mandatory. One is the account and other is connecting to the node. So connecting to the node is done, and one account has to be chosen, which from which I am trying to deploy the transaction. So I have taken one public key and private key. I have added my private key here. Then whatever the contract deployed using the remix, I've taken the API, and with this method, I tried to declare my contract in the JavaScript. After declaring the JavaScript, then I try to set using this Web3 by creating a transaction object and encoded API. Encoded API is something which converts your code into the bytecode. After converting the bytecode, you created the transaction object using the bytecode and gas and from account or to account, whichever you are doing. Then whatever the encoded data, you try and create a whatever you created a transaction object, you try to sign the transaction using your private key. Then after signing the transaction success, then we have sent a transaction with the raw transaction. So once we get the receipt saying that this is a we are saying that this transaction is success. For retrieving it, we need not do any encoded AB and R. Just we need to call the method using the call from which account you are calling. That's it. It will return from the storage. It's very easy for retrieving, but for setting it, we need to do the bytecode conversion. Then you need to create a transaction object. Then you need to sign the transaction. Then you need to send the signs. This is the process you need to be followed using the Infura node for deploying a raw transaction. Thank you. Thank you all.